And letting go of fear is the key thing. And when you get to that point where you're observing your mind and you're observing your emotions instead of being them, it's amazing how fear, and I can only talk for myself and talking to other people who've been through it, fear starts to leave you. Because what is there to fear when you've reached that point, not only of realization, but of observing the world from a point of view of that which is always has been, always will be, infinite consciousness, eternal consciousness, which is what we are. The other thing that it holds us in servitude is insecurity. How many people are always put a mask to the world? It's not who they really are. It's what they think other people think they should be. So instead of putting ourselves to the world, we put this mask to the world that we think is acceptable to the world. Consciousness does not do insecurity, and it certainly doesn't do putting masks on to fulfill other people's perceptions of what you should be. Consciousness is all possibility. It is all potential. You know, people think about, one consciousness, and they think, oh, that means, yeah, I'm one consciousness, yeah, I'm one consciousness, I'm one consciousness. If it's some clone-like state, consciousness, in the form that I'm talking about at the infinite level of us, is all possibility. Therefore, when we celebrate our uniqueness and celebrate our diversity and celebrate the diversity and uniqueness of each other, we are celebrating the fact that we are infinite consciousness, because we're celebrating all possibility. What happens is when we get caught in mind, that's when you get the clone. Yeah, I'm mind. Yeah, I'm mind. Yes, I'm mind. All the bloody clones line up, all look the same and all the rest of it, and speak the same and think the same. That's mind. So, celebrating uniqueness and being conscious are the same things. And that's why if you look, the more mind has taken over, the more this earth has become more and more uniform. And as we become more and more conscious, we will be celebrating diversity, and diversity will start to return in the way we live our lives. The key thing to breaking the spell is breaking out of belief systems. It's a good question. What would consciousness do? How would consciousness see this? Well, like I said earlier, consciousness doesn't do religion, because religion is a mind phenomenon that sees everything in terms of apartness and rules and regulations and all the rest of it. Consciousness doesn't do that. So religion's out. If we are going to be conscious, then religion's gone. Politics, well, consciousness vote? I mean, what's going on? Consciousness doesn't do belief systems like politics, so that's gone, that belief system. Race, it doesn't do race. You know, the human form is just a vehicle for consciousness to experience this reality. It doesn't do my genetic spacesuit is better than yours, and because yours is of different color or comes from a different background, I'm better than you, and I'm the master race, or I'm the chosen race, and all the rest of it. Consciousness doesn't do that. Mind does that. When we think in those terms, we're in mind, not consciousness. And self-identity. If we have a self-identity that says, I am my body, and I am my name, and that is me, that is who I am, we're in mind. When we say my name and my body and my life is my experience, the experience of my consciousness, then we're recognizing who we really are, which is consciousness having an experience.
Yep. Why do you think these people see the media as being so important? You know, the reality is quite different. You know, the media isn't really important. It's how we use it. It's how we view it. You know, the reality is that we, as a society, in this hypnotized and almost catatonic and comatose state, we have given our free will for everything that's going on. We've given our free will consent to the state the planet is in today. Most people in modern societies, I mean, you know, we saturate our minds with all sorts of unhealthy things that are not good for us. I mean, things that are served up for us on television. And people are quite addicted to their televisions. Most people spend their time consuming violence, pornography, greed, selfishness, hatred, you know, incessant bad news and fear and terror. I mean, when was the last time a lot of people out there just stopped and thought about something really, really beautiful and really pure? something wonderful that really warms your heart and puts that energy into the field. When was the last time you stopped and did that? The planet is the way it is because of our collective thoughts about the planet. And those people out there who don't affect positive change, they are complicit in their inaction. And every time you look the other way when you see an injustice, your thought at the subconscious level of creation to the Creator is your allowance of these things to occur. And in so doing, you're serving the wrong purpose. Those who think violent thoughts against those whom they perceive to be the rulers of this world, be careful what you wish for, folks, because all thoughts and words are creative. And there was a statement I read somewhere, I'm not sure who it was by, that said, in order to choose the positive path, at least 51% of our thoughts and actions must be dedicated to the service of others. But for the negative path, at least 95% of our thoughts and actions must be directed towards self-service. And between those 2 points lies the sinkhole of indifference. And it's truly a sinkhole, folks. Indifference is the vein of consciousness, to lead you down a path of repetition that becomes ever more negative. It's the will to serve self, and it becomes ever more negative and polarized. But negativity is necessary, folks. It's very important, for without negativity, there can be no positivity, and without the negative, there can't be the positive. It's all about free will and freedom of choice, my friends. And if negativity did not exist, there would be no choice, because there would be nothing for us to choose between. It's all about service to self or service to others. That's the whole thing about this life, service to self or service to others. Do the right thing in all that you do, or do what is right for you personally. That's the choice, folks. And it's a pretty easy choice to make once you begin to understand this sort of thing. I choose service to others. And I don't try to wake up people to the reality of these things out of fear. I don't try to wake people up to what's going on in the world because I'm worried about the future. I do it because I love you. I do it because I love you all. I truly do. I've never met a person that I didn't love, even the most negative. Some people will just say these are evil people. I don't see them as evil. I see them as polarized. And it's necessary for them to be that way. Otherwise they wouldn't be that way. Because having these polarized energies in the world is the only way that consciousness can ascend into something more positive.
So can you believe in a future that you can't see or experience with your senses yet, but you've thought about enough times in your mind that your brain is literally changed to look like the event has already happened? Neuroscience says it's absolutely possible. Now, your personality creates your personal reality. That's it. It's that simple. And your personality is made up of how you think, how you act, and how you feel. So the present personality who's sitting here today, you, has created the present personal reality called your life. Would you agree? Would you also agree then, if you wanted to create a new personal reality, that on a fundamental level you would have to change the thoughts that you are thinking, the behaviors and habits that you're demonstrating, and the emotions that you've memorized that's become part of your identity? And most people try to create a new personal reality as the same personality, and it never works. We have to become somebody else. So then, as you keep thinking the same thoughts, performing the same actions, and living by the same experiences that produce the same emotions, there's a principle in neuroscience that says nerve cells that fire together wire together. And if you keep repeating the same states of mind and body over and over again, your brain begins to fire in the same sequences, in the same patterns and same combinations. And whenever you make your brain work in a certain way, that's called mind. Mind is the brain in action. So as you remind yourself every day who you think you are, you're causing your brain to fire in the exact same ways. And as they fire and wire in the same patterns over time, the brain moves into a very finite signature, and that's called your personality. Now, that box in your brain isn't literally a box, but it's the most commonly wired, neurologically fired programs that run redundantly because we keep doing the same things over and over again. To change your mind, then, is to make the brain work in new sequences and new patterns and new combinations, to begin to make the brain work differently. And the one ingredient that allows us to do that is knowledge or information. Because every time you learn something new, you make a new connection in your brain. That's what learning is. Learning is forging new connections. Remembering is maintaining or sustaining those connections. So now, every time you have a thought, you make a chemical. And if you have a great thought, or an unlimited thought, or a joyful thought, you turn on a set of circuits in your brain that fires in a very specific sequence, pattern, and combination that produces a level of mind that turns on another part of the brain that makes a chemical for you to begin to feel exactly the way you were just thinking, great or unlimited or joyful.
I tried that and it didn't work, and I tried that and it didn't work, and I tried that and it didn't work, and I tried that and it didn't work. Because you think that trying something for a little while ought to bring you a big return. But life does not work like Apple. Life does not click and it appears. Some stuff takes time. Greatness takes time. It takes time. You got to be prepared to get 1,000 no's to get one yes. The thing you need to win is resilience. You can't just keep trying different stuff, because you can never say something didn't work when you didn't half try. Be resilient. Stick it out. Winter, spring, summer, fall. Resilient.
Life is going smoothly, then the bottom falls out. Everything is coming up roses, then the bottom falls out. Everything is working out in his favor, and then the bottom falls out. That life starts going your way finally, then the bottom falls out. You plan your retirement, and now you have to take care of your grandchildren. You plan for life to work a certain way, and then the bottom falls out. You're looking for this, and God sends that. You have to be awfully immature to think that every day is going to be a good day. Some days are better than other days. And some days, if it ain't one thing, it's another.
What would you do if you knew you could fail, but understood that that failure could be a real blessing in your life? Now, that's a good question. Because I think we don't reach our possibilities, not because the door isn't open, but because we stop before we get to the door. Every possibility is surrounded by obstacles and challenges. I've never had a possibility with a clear path that I had no opposition to, and just ran up there and knocked on the door and everything opened and everything was good. That only happens in the movies, friends.
Resilience. Resilience, the ability to return to the original form after being bent or being compressed. That's the dictionary's definition of resilience. The ability to readily recover from illness or depression. Resilience, being able to withstand setbacks, financial crisis, loss of loved ones, loss of enterprise, and loss of health. How would you ever handle it if you lost everything you had today? What would it take for you to pull yourself up and start all over again? How resilient are you? Could you learn from all your disappointments and start all over again? What would it take? It would take a lot of positive self-talk to muster up the energy to begin again. It would take a lot of concentration to block out the noise and the clutter and the negative voices of others around you. It would also take what? A lot of self-reliance. Your future success has everything to do with you. What's happened has happened. You would need to get on with your life and begin again. It would take a lot of faith and trust in God to move ahead. It would take a lot of self-appreciation, knowing that you have the skills and the talent and the strength to do it one more time. Resilience, the ability to bounce back from adversity, no matter how large or how small.
Possibilities are always surrounded by challenges. You got to get through the challenges to get to the possibilities. But it's worth it. It's kind of like a Tootsie Roll. You got to get through the hard stuff so you can get to the good soft stuff. That's the way it is with life. That's the way it is with possibilities.
What's the use of always keeping thinking of the past? Each must have his tribulation, water with his wine. Life, it ain't no celebration. Trouble, I've had mine, but today is fine. It's today that I'm living, not a month ago, having, losing, taking, giving, as time wills it so. Yesterday, a cloud of sorrow fell across the way. It may rain again tomorrow. It may rain, but say, ain't it fine today? If a cloud of sorrow comes over here, ain't it fine today? Living in the moment, getting everything we can out of where we are in the moment where we are right now. The other thing is willingness to let people and things go. You want to live a life of fulfillment. You've got to be willing to let certain people go in your life. When they're no longer good for you, just let them go. Just to hold on tenaciously really doesn't make really good sense, all right? Just many times we do it because we don't realize that we might desire it, but we don't need it. Face the truth about life and deal with it. Whatever happens to you, use everything for your upliftment, learning, and growth. Everything that happens, use it for your upliftment. What can I get from this? How did I end up here? What's the blessing in this for me? Ask yourself that, whatever it is, and don't let it go until you get your blessing out of it, because there's a blessing there. There's something for you in everything that happens to you for you to learn from that experience. Look at it, examine it, analyze it until it reveals itself to you, and then get what you need from that and move on.
It takes time to make changes in habit and discipline. Here's the ultimate challenge. You've got to have patience with yourself. It takes time to correct old errors in judgment. I'm telling you, it took me some time. I used to blame the government and blame taxes and blame the company. It took time to give that up and only blame myself. So have patience with yourself, number one. Number two is to keep doing it. Be persistent. As long as you are patient and persistent, it's hard to elude success. As long as you maintain patience and persistence, there's only one person, just one person, that will draw the line between success and failure. And that person is you. So be patient, be persistent. You need both patience and persistence together. And here's why. Lack of patience is probably the worst enemy of ambition. Impatience wants to give up. Impatience calls discouragement failure. But your ambition won't let you give up so easily, not if you're persistent. What others may call failure, ambition calls a learning opportunity. Ambition knows that the longer the achievement is in coming, the more valued it is.
Oh, please, listen to yourself. You know the feelings. If you start listening to the feelings in your heart, and I'm doing it now more every day, I find that my feelings, I can trust them. And I say to you that as you look toward the future, you look at life on a daily basis. If you've heard something within yourself that you know that what you're doing now doesn't fit for you, it doesn't work for you, it's not giving you what you want, and there's something else that you want to do, don't allow that inner doubt in you to talk you out of it, to tell you why you're not good enough. You ignore that inner voice and all of the external voices. Don't judge the possibilities for what you can do based upon the circumstances, because the circumstances won't determine who you are. Don't determine what you're able to do based upon your resources. Don't determine what's possible for you based upon where your life is right now. Where your life is right now is not you. That's just what it is right now. But the possibilities for you are unlimited. It's unlimited if you're coming back from adversity and devastation. It's unlimited of what you can do. That's the capacity of human beings. It doesn't matter how many mistakes you've made. It doesn't matter how many flops you've had. It doesn't matter how much money you've lost. What you learn from life. Not losses, but investments of what's possible for you. And I say to you that once you start listening to yourself, and as you begin to act on your dream, you will start seeing things opening up for you. You'll start attracting people. You start brainstorming. Ideas will come out of nowhere as you focus on it. The key to it is to begin to focus, because as you focus on that which you want to do, that which we focus on, that which we give our energy to, it will begin to multiply. It will begin to expand. It will begin to develop your consciousness. And out of that comes your greatness. Out of that comes a commitment. Out of that comes a passion for life. Out of that comes a special power that you have in you. See, the powers that we have will never reveal themselves if we don't challenge them. Put yourself in a position where you can't retreat, where it's do or die, sink or swim. Here's what you'll find out. You'll develop incredible swimming skills. You'll find yourself stroking unlike you've ever seen before. Through the inspiration of desperation, you'll become more creative than ever before. All you can do is all you can do. And all you can do is enough. Make sure you do all you can do.
Knowing when an opportunity is right and when more preparation is needed. Be patient in knowing the difference between when the opportunity is right and when more work needs to be done. Remain alert even if opportunity doesn't come right away. Keep looking. Be patient. Keep preparing for opportunities even if there's a delay. Even if things aren't going just the way you think they should. Keep your disappointments at bay. Be prepared. Always be prepared. Don't let impatience allow you to give up. Take the little setbacks in stride. Don't let small disappointments discourage you. Don't let the little successes delude you. Avoid the emotional roller coaster that will always disrupt your plan.
If you think ordinary's cool, ain't no problem. It's some really wonderful ordinary people. But if you are sitting in this room and you have extraordinary aspirations, then you're gonna have to do extra. You put extra on top of ordinary and you come up with extraordinary. It's no other way. But here's the fact. All of you have extraordinary capabilities. All of you. You have to decide if you are willing to do the things to put you in that category. Rich people don't sleep 8 hours a day. That's a third of your life. He who loves to sleep and the folding of hands, poverty will set upon you like a thief in the night.
What do you do when you tried and failed and you want to quit and you want to give up? Because trying again means hurting again, means risking again, means believing again, means hoping again. Sometimes you can be blessed and be unhappy because even though things are going right, they're not going according to what you had believed and expected, and you know that something is missing out of your life. What do you do when something is missing out of your life and the things that replaced it do not compensate for what you lost?
I've always been told how average I can be. Always been criticized about being average. But I want to tell you something. I stand here before you, not listening to those words, but telling myself every single day to shoot for the stars, to be the best that I can be. Good enough isn't good enough if it can be better, and better isn't good enough if it can be best.
Other than death, all failure is psychological. Other than death, all failure is psychological. Think about that. If you aren't dead, then it's just psychological. It does not mean that you won't lose some battles, because you will. We all will. But it does mean that as long as you don't surrender, as long as you don't give up, as long as you don't quit, then you haven't failed. It just means you've made a temporary tactical retreat, a brief withdrawal. so that you can regroup and reattack. If you get beat, unless you're dead, you are not defeated. And you have not failed. What you've done is you've learned. You've gained experience. And you're still alive. So get up and go get after it.
We all live in this bubble. What you got to do to get the life that God wants you to have, you got to put more air in your bubble. You got to blow your bubble up. Expand yourself. Take yourself out your comfort zone. Put some more air in your bubble. If you stay in your comfort zone, that's where you will fail. You will fail in your comfort zone. Success is not a comfortable procedure. It is a very uncomfortable thing to attempt. So you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable if you ever want to be successful.
This thing called life, you just don't know what the next moment will bring. But here's what I do know, and I want you to know, you have comeback power. When something happens to you, don't buy into what has happened to you. Buy into, I'm getting up out of here. I'm going to change this situation. This does not work for me, and I don't have the luxury of being depressed and angry. I need to clear my head. This is no time to do something stupid, like hurt yourself. No, 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 no.
So get serious about your goals, business goals, financial independence goals, family goals. I mean, there's so many things to work on this. But if you don't get busy and work on it, sure enough, the time will pass. And sure enough, 5 years from now, you'll wind up where you don't want to be, wearing what you don't want to wear, driving what you don't want to drive, being what you don't want to be. Now's the time to fix it. Your goals are affecting you, whatever they are. Your goals affect your attitude, personality. All day long, we're being affected by our goals.
You got to clear your head so that the decision that you make represents the best in you. People who don't stop to clear their heads, they react. They don't respond. Be still and know that you're going to get through this. You're going to get through this. And you don't want to be radical. You don't want to be erratic. Just be still and know, I'm going to get through this. You got to assure yourself. You have to encourage yourself. You have to clear your mind.
Do you have what it takes? I put that out there because if you thought that question was going to go away when you hit 40 and it didn't, if you thought that question was going to go away when you graduated high school and it didn't, if you thought that question was going to go away when you got married and it didn't, now I want to say that over your life today, whether you believe it or not, that what God has purposed for you to accomplish is too important for you to leave your issues unconfronted. Sometimes you've got to take a stand for what you know God has called you to do. And sometimes that means standing against what others say, and sometimes that means taking a stand within yourself against yourself.
Those negative influences are choking out and they're limiting your life. Who you choose to surround yourself with, the environment you decide to plant yourself in has the potential to limit you or unlock you.
You are now a composite of everything you've been saying. Change your words and you'll begin to change your life. If you want to become something different, change what you are confessing. Change what you are saying. Words change the atmosphere of your life.
Maybe there's some relatives in your life who tell you why you'll never break that addiction, why you'll never be successful. Listen. These relationships, they may be keeping you from flourishing and becoming all God wants you to be.
Your current situation is not in charge of your future destination. Get your hopes up. Start believing. Start expecting. Expectation means to live life with an anticipation that I'm believing for more. It's time to raise your expectation. This word expectation, it is the ingredient of faith.
We all go through things that are unfair. People that do us wrong, the company let us go, came down with an illness. It's easy to live with a victim mentality, thinking we're at a disadvantage. We were shortchanged. We can't do anything great. Look at how we were raised. We can't love again. The last person hurt us. We can't live happy. We've been through too much. As long as you accept that you're a victim, you're going to get stuck. You may have been through unfair situations, but don't use it as an excuse to feel sorry for yourself, to give up on life, to not pursue your dreams.
You, friend, are a seed. You are full of potential, full of gifts, full of purpose. But if you plant yourself in unhealthy soil, if the environment and relationships you choose to surround yourself with aren't healthy, or they're filled with compromise and negativity, an environment with limited mindsets telling you what you can't accomplish, pulling you down, then you won't see the growth that you've been designed to experience.
What's most important is just keep focused and allowing yourself to be fueled by your faith. Yes, your faith is a down payment on your future. Focus on your faith, not your problems. Focus on your faith, not your bills. Focus on keeping yourself strong, living yourself and living from the inside out. Because the problems and challenges, they will always be there. Dimples was right when he had that song. If it ain't one thing, it's another. That's absolutely true.
Most people really want their lives to count. We want our lives to matter. We want to feel useful. We want to make a difference. We don't want to waste our lives. Instead, we want our lives to be productive. And you know, the people who are productive are the happiest when they're actually being productive. You're more happy when you are being more productive. Productivity is always about making the most of what you've been given. And this is true not just of people, but also businesses and organizations, even nations.
If you don't try to create the future you want, you must endure the future you get. I'm not creating my own future. I'm just enduring the future that comes to me. But the moment that I become intentional, the moment that I say, I have a choice, I can make a difference, I don't have to become a victim, the moment that happens within my life, I begin to create a better future for me. So the question is, do I wait for good things to happen, or do I work for good things to happen, which means I'm intentionally taking action to do my very best to make the best out of something that isn't so hot. I hope that you no longer wait for good things to happen for you and to you. I hope you begin to intentionally work to make them happen.
See, a lot of people are caught up in the distractions. A lot of people spend all kind of TV time and internet time watching old fights and sporting events. But this is no time to be a fan. This is no time to be a spectator. Listen to me. Listen to me. You have something special. You have greatness in you. But most people don't take the time to focus, to put in the effort and the time to develop that greatness, to discover that greatness. And if you don't focus, if you don't put in the effort, if you don't work it, it doesn't work if you don't work it.
You see, there's definitely a time to focus on self-development, focusing on you, checking your attitude, checking your dreams, your plans. Self-development is critical. But may I propose another focus, something that's key to you reaching your full potential? That's soil development. That means assessing your environment. It means assessing your relationships. Friend, you need to be selective right now with whom you give your time, energy, and attention to. Your potential, your dreams, they're real, but it may not be able to be realized in the limited environment that you're in right now.
And if you have this kind of mindset, there are things that God is going to do through you, for you, as you. And have this mindset. Even if you don't have two pennies to rub together, have this mindset. Even if you're going through foreclosure, I've been through that. All that, it doesn't mean anything. What matters most, not what happens to you, but what happens in you. Do what you have to do to reach your goal, to reach your dream, to change your life. Do what you have to do.
Listen to me. Most people give up when they're tired, but a disciplined person gives up when they're done. Discipline is the bridge between your goals and your outcomes. Either suffer the price of discipline or suffer the price of regret. Inspiration gets you going, but it's discipline that keeps you growing.
Lay a disciplinary structure on yourself. Get the chaos in check. And then you can move towards a state that's freer, because it's discipline first. Like, look, if you're going to become a concert pianist, there's going to be several thousand hours of extraordinarily disciplined practice. That's the imposition of order on your potential, let's say. But what comes out of that is a much grander freedom.
What is preventing most people from moving in the direction that they want to move is a lack of discipline. And no one wants to hear that answer. It's the harshest answer. Yeah. It's not cool. It's not good clickbait. Because the reason it's not good clickbait is because, well, you can put this as clickbait. The one reason most people don't succeed, right? But then as soon as you click on that clickbait and then it says discipline, they don't even read it. Yeah. They don't want to hear it. Because what they actually, when they see that word discipline, it's actually a slap in the face because they know it's true, right? If you want to make progress in your life, you got to have discipline. Mm-hmm. That's how you get there. Discipline is the root of all good qualities.
Change is inevitable. So here's what's going to happen. No matter what's going on in your life, is not permanent. Everything is going to change. So there's two things you can do with change. You can react to it or you can participate in it. So if you keep waiting around, you're going to have to react to the change. And now you're behind. But if you participate in the change, if you know the job you have is not going to last forever. I'm just telling you. COVID proved that already. So what you got to start doing is you got to start anticipating that it's going to change and just start living your life with the preparation for change. No matter what you're doing, you could be doing more. Remember that. It's 24 hours in a day. You got to use as many of those hours to prepare stability for yourself as you can. If you have any dreams of being rich, you cannot sleep 8 hours a day. It's only 24 hours in a day. If you sleep 8 hours, that's a third of your life. How can you cannot be asleep a third of your life and become successful. You can't.
You know, we kind of have this idea that you have a certain delightful, wonderful, positive freedom as a child, and then that's given up as you approach adulthood. But the truth of the matter is that you have a lot of potential as a child, but none of that is capable of manifesting itself as freedom before you become disciplined. And discipline is a matter of the imposition of order, and the order is necessary, especially for people who are hopeless and nihilistic. And lots of people are hopeless and nihilistic. Way more people than you think. And part of that is because no one's ever really encouraged them.
Where there is no vision, the people perish. So the key to your life is finding a vision that imposes discipline on you.
Now, one thing I want to straighten out, big time. Discipline is not punishment. It's not. Discipline is training. That's all it is. If you change your mind, your mindset, and really focus it on what discipline really is, you start to welcome discipline. You welcome self-discipline into your life.
Here's the clue. Make rest a necessity, not an objective. The objective of life is not to rest. The objective of life is to act. Think of more disciplines. Think of more ways and means in which to use your own wisdom and your own philosophy, and use your own attitude, your own faith, your own courage, your own commitment, your own desires, your own excitement. Invest it, invest it, invest it, invest it in discipline so that it's not wasted. The smallest of discipline. Thereby transform your life. Join the 5%, join the 10%, join the 3%.
If you don't do that, if you get up and you just have no discipline whatsoever, you get no value of anything. Your diets don't work when you don't do them. Exercise doesn't work when you don't do them. But most of the people have some experiences that they want to shift And once you shift those things, your whole life changes. But life is constant growth. My life isn't here because I went to one seminar one time and now my life is fit for life. I work out, I train my mind, I train my body, and it becomes a lifestyle.
I do think that and it's not just in sport, but with other things, I do believe that the more you repeat certain things, whether it is writing, working on your, whether it's cursive letters or whatever it is, like when you work on something and you keep doing it over and over, it's inevitable that it will get better. And by that, you're creating this feeling of repetition, which leads to discipline. Like, you can do it over and over again.
If discipline comes from somewhere else, it's very, very hard to remain consistent because you tend to resist. It's wild because I see trainers and they're in the gym with people and the guy or girl that they're working out hates their workout, hates it, because the discipline is coming from somewhere else. It's something that you dread every time you go in. You don't really want to do it. It's like, but oh no, my trainer's here. He's about to, beat me up and make me feel crazy. Well, the truth is, every trainer should work his way out of your life. So you can go ahead, do your own workout, do your own thing, practice self-discipline.
Resilience is very different than being numb. Resilience means you experience, you feel, you fail, you hurt, but you keep going. When we are hit by a crisis, people that just kind of go numb, which basically means that I feel nothing, I'm not learning, I'm kind of like not even living, and that makes us a victim. When we go through the crisis, we don't go for numbness, we go for resilience, and resilience is alive, it is learning, and what happens is resilience makes us victorious. It's that resilience and remembering that you put in your heart, you store it in your heart. So the next time you have an obstacle, a difficulty, an adversity in your life, that resilience remembers. Don't allow the crisis to numb you. Be alive, learn, feel, fail, learn. That's what it's all about if you want to make this difficult time a good time.
Motivation doesn't get anything done. Motivation gets you going. Discipline, commitment, strong habits is what gets things done. Motivation is just a feeling. Grounded action is what gets things done. So here's my invitation to you. The next time you feel motivated, don't do anything grand and exciting or set any lofty expectations for yourself to like stay that way or whatever the case may be. Get a pad and paper and write down 1 or 2 things that you're going to commit to doing every single day, no matter what. You're gonna use that motivation to build a machine for yourself.
No matter how pessimistic, no matter how negative it looks today, you're going to come back. It's a time of the comeback. It's time to get up off the mat. If you've been knocked down, if you've been through something, if you've been through financial setback or some kind of terrible thing has hit you in your health or something's happened to your family, we need to believe that it's time for a comeback. It's no time to quit. It's no time to give up. It's no time to moan and groan. It's a time of the comeback.